So there's two videos I want to talk about. The first one is 5 reasons why I hate the 1 to 10 look scales as a black pillar, and then never be a jester maxer for women. Now this term jester max, I've watched a couple videos about this. The term really interested me because I tell people what is very obvious to any man who's ever dated a woman. Women like when a guy is funny, a guy has a sense of humor. So you would think gesture maxing would be being as funny as you can, being as like lighthearted, looking to have a good time, having a fun personality, being funny, and like setting women up for jokes. You'd think it would just be basic understanding of comedy, and but no, what gesture maxing is wildly different. But we'll touch on this 1 to 10 look scale because I think this is quite important as well, as a lot of these Blackpill incel guys are wildly obsessed with the looks of other men, when you really shouldn't be. And this guy actually understands that to a certain extent, and I actually like what he says here. I don't fully agree, but we'll get into it.
Look scale. So for the 1 to 10 look scale that we have here that everyone is familiar with, in theory, the difference between each number should be the same. So roughly 10% between 1 and 2, 10% between 2 and 3, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I find it weird when people rate anything 1 to 10, but they don't apply that, right? Like, it's like they just have this idea of like a bell curve in their head. And to me, that's like really a weird way to look at it. Like, obviously, that's what most statistics break down to, but it's just bizarre because there are a lot more. Like, a 1 has to mean something and a 10 has to mean something, and it doesn't mean the absolute like pinnacle. 1 is the ugliest person imaginable, and 10 is like the most beautiful person imaginable. It's actually like, I don't know. To me, that's an unfair way of rating things, because then why even have it? Why have the scale be that limited if you're gonna see the extremes as being like as impossibly extreme as it could be? If you're gonna look at it that way, why not rate it 1 to 100, right? And then you could then say no actual 1s exist and no actual 100s exist. Then it would at least make sense.
But in reality, I would say the differences between each number look something more like this. So for some numbers, there's no difference between each one, while for other numbers, there's massive differences.
Now this I completely agree with. He also has these equal signs at the 1, the 2, the 3, as well as the 8, 9, 10. And really, like, no guy out there can tell me that there's a giant difference. Like, if you find a woman who's 8, 9, 10, are you really nitpicking at that point? Like, do you really give that much of a shit? Like, to me what a 10 is beautiful face, beautiful like personality, right? Like, if a woman's constantly like what is it, RBF, just a real negative kind of attitude she's just putting out there, then it's gonna go like, you like can't be a 10 with that. But like a 10 just has it all, right? Everything you want is there, and it doesn't have to be absolute perfection, right? Like, it doesn't have to be, this every little detail about her is the absolute best possible thing, because that's never really gonna happen, right? Like, I'm sorry, but if I have a woman, right? Like, I think about the most gorgeous woman I've ever been with. Perfect face, perfect. Basically everything was perfect. Could she have had a nicer butt? Yeah, I guess a little bit. Like, if it was just that, if I was rating 1 to 100 on just her butt, she would not get 100. But having like a 85 butt or like 80 butt, it's not going to drag you down from being a 10, right? Just because you're not the absolute like pinnacle of perfection. That's insane, right? Because it's like literally like every other thing about this person is full on like 100%. Why would it's, I don't know, it's sus as hell to me, but we'll go on.
To explain this further, the way I see this is that if you're 1 to 3 in looks, then it's pretty much all of the same thing. You're borderline subhuman at this point.
Yeah, you're lumped together. Same with the top. You're lumped together. Like at that point, you're just nitpicking about tiny details of someone, right? Like think of like Brad Pitt. Incredibly attractive guy. Considered to be the most attractive guy on the planet. But is he actually genuinely, like if you actually talked individually to every woman who's familiar with Brad Pitt and asked them like, who is the absolute perfect male? Like if you could construct a perfect male, who are you like genuinely, like not objectively but subjectively, who are you the most attracted to? Could you like say, let's talk about Brad Pitt. Could you improve stuff about his looks? They're going to tell you yeah, and they're going to say, oh, actually, well, realistically, the this other guy is more attractive, but you know he's not a famous actor. You know, like Brad Pitt has a certain status of being the most attractive guy out there that no other guy can have, even if that guy is objectively way more good looking. So it's kind of complicated. And again, you're just lumping people together, right? Like, I don't know how I'm a straight man, so I can't nitpick between an 8, a 9, or a 10 guy. I just can't, right? And I don't think I think women they can, but they don't give a shit. That's what the point he's making is women don't care, right? Like if a woman's with like Adam Levine, she's going to be stoked about it. Even if she thinks the guy's an 8, she's going to see it as a 10. Or say like a guy who's just like a really attractive guy, right? It's meaningless. I completely agree. It's all just the same grouping of people. But where I'm going to disagree is this middle section.
Point 3, 2, and 1 pretty much all mean the same thing. That nobody's going to find you good looking. Then between 3 and 4, there's a little difference. So at this point, you're still below average, you're still unattractive. And in fact, everyone in this 1 to 4 range is going to be labelled as unattractive. But then the difference between 4 and 5, we have a massive gap. So this is the first rating where you'll step into that average territory. And
alright, I want to point out some things, right? Like it's easy to nitpick, right? Do these guys, like say, look at this guy who's just above the 4. I would say he's noticeably more attractive than the other people who he ranks in 4. But again, you're just splitting hairs. It doesn't actually matter. Like, I don't think this red line he has here dividing these men, I don't think it's even that significant, really. Right? Like, any of these guys, you know, maybe besides this guy right here, because this guy kind of looks like some of these guys look like they're incredibly young. They look like they're teenagers, like they're 14. They're going to have some problems. They can change the stuff about their appearance, but realistically, like any of these guys here, you could say are in the same category. I guarantee you these guys, some of these guys have gotten women, right? And he's going to talk about how, like, this is all about how women rate men's looks. But the thing is that they don't have anything to go off of, right? And he brings it up later in this video that when women rate these pictures, right? Say, like, I don't know if this specific set of pictures of dudes were ranked by women, but let's just say for argument's sake they were, because such things have been done in the past, right? So what my point is that these guys, he brings it up that women don't have much to go off of. Real quick though, we'll go to this slide that he puts up. He makes some good points in here, but I want to get to exactly where he talks about the contextual information, right? Talks about face rating and how he says that a woman will say that that this guy's a 7 out of 10 to spare his feelings, but in reality she thinks he's a 5 out of 10 based off of his face.
So this man is a 5, but he'll be a JBW.
I don't even know what JBW is, but he says if the guy's short, then he's a 3 out of 10, which is fair, right? Like, if women are just rating guys off of one picture or a couple of pictures on a guy's Tinder profile, which Tinder is the most meaningless thing to dating imaginable, but they don't have enough information, and women care entirely about your vibe, your confidence, what you're bringing forward, right? Your energy. A guy can't project his status really through photos or just a picture of his face, just like this Facebook profile picture type of shit. It's meaningless. So there is context that's missing for sure, but the ultimate context that's missing is well, I'll show you this part real quick. So there's this woman with the 7 out of 10 face
as well. So for this woman, you might rate her a 7 or maybe even pushing 8 out of 10 in the face. But as soon as you show the bottom half of the photo and you find out she's a single mother, her SMV automatically drops by 3 points. For all women, as soon as you have a child, your SMV pretty much automatically drops by 3 points. And what's hilarious is that if you go onto any online dating apps, you will see women like this who still show the same standards that they had before the woman's preference.
Try Tim's flatbread pizza, starting at only $6.99 in 4 delicious flavors.
So he goes on, he talks about if women are more into muscular guys or less muscular guys, then how they're rating guys is totally skewed.
Clearly,
which again,
when we put on our bell curve,
is very fair, right? If she's not into muscular dudes, then she's going to be horribly unattracted to muscular dudes. If she's into muscular dudes, she's going to be more attracted to muscular dudes. Women are very fickle. They have tastes that often very much change. And again, it's entirely based off of your personality, right? Like it's wild. And I feel like people think about these types of things entirely wrongly, right? This idea that you are just it's just doomed because you're stuck with the face that you have. This is weirdo shit, dude. Other than Tinder, right? Literally a hookup app where you're looking at 1 or 2 or 3 photos of someone and swiping, yes, I want to sleep with them, or no, I don't. That has nothing to do with dating at all. That's just some weird hookup app that most people just use as something to do when they're bored. They like to do it with their friends and just kind of judge whoever pops up on there and never actually meet with anybody. It's mostly complete garbage that doesn't have anything to do with dating. That's why other dating apps have you make an entire profile with a description and all kinds of context, icebreakers, conversation starters, and you have the ability to start the interaction with a message. So it's not just a picture of your face, it's an interaction where you're adding context to that picture of your face. This is what you need to be doing, men. You need to be attracting women. That is your job. If that's not happening, then you're not doing it correctly. You're not doing your basic task of being a man. Your role in dating is to be the pursuer, to be the one who asks out, but your job is to build the attraction leading up to that asking out. If you're getting rejected, then you're not doing that. You're failing at that, at a fundamental thing. That's not good. That's really bad. It's really not all that complicated. Like, being funny isn't that hard. Being confident isn't that hard. Literally, anyone can do it. Besides the very, like some people do have issues, but I don't know what excuses people could have, right? I know people with a wide variety of mental issues where they've had positive interactions with women, right? Like, people fit, like, I won't get into it, right? Like, but where they make women laugh, they're sociable, they have the capacity to have a good social interaction, right? I like to think that everyone at some point has had some kind of good positive social interaction in their life. It must have happened. Why are you not considering that that's like a key ingredient when asking out a woman, when getting a girlfriend, getting a date? It's the core part, right? And it adds tons of context, right? So actual online dating, there's tons of context. And when you start dating somebody who you just know from real life, there's even more context. There's like an ocean of context. You have tons of time to build an attraction. Even if it's literal minutes. If I talk to a woman for 30 seconds, her level of attractive, whether it be her being more attracted to me or less attracted to me, is going to change enormously. Like, women practically can't even judge the attractiveness of a man based off of a freaking picture of the guy's face, right? Not at all. And why would they? There's so much to, like, female attraction towards men. It's so much more complicated than male attraction towards women. They can't do it without context. It's just inaccurate, and it doesn't even make, like, it doesn't follow any kind of, like, logical sense. Other than, like, some of these guys, right? Like, this guy with the doofy hair, this guy looks like he belongs. Not even in 1 out of 10. I would say easily a 3 out of 10. I mean, the point is that it doesn't really matter all that much. And to an extent, it doesn't, because you're going to get looped in. Like, that's just how it is. Women are going to dismiss you. They're going to be like, all right, this guy is not very attractive. That doesn't mean it's over. That doesn't mean she's not going to go out with you. That just means you have to understand that, accept that about yourself, be confident in that, and overcome that. Just by being, you can overcome that in a variety of ways. One way is just being funny. Make her laugh. Boom, you're in. Another way is be smart. Say something intelligent. Say something about anything that she's interested in. Have any kind of, like, opinion. Now, I'm not saying ramble on your opinion about whatever she's into, but a quick opinion. If you express that you like something that she likes, and it's, like, genuine, even if it's not even necessarily something that you actually like very much, you should be able to, for example, there's tons of stuff I don't like very much. But if a woman's into it, I can very quickly come up with a reason of something that's good about it, right? Like, I've heard women tell me, oh, I watched a movie. And I'm like, oh, well, like, you know, what movie did you watch? And they tell me it. And it's a total piece of crap movie. But I know a lot about movies, so I can, if it's a movie I've seen, I can point to one thing good about that movie. There will be one thing. Whether it be a performance, whether it be a freaking shot, whether it be cinematography, style, an interesting, like, plot line, storytelling, a character I enjoyed, an actor that I enjoyed. Literally, it could be like, oh, I like this actor. Doesn't even matter. Even if they have the worst performance in whatever movie you're talking about, I like that actor. You know, like, boom. Instantly a connection has formed because you like something that she likes, right? Because you oftentimes when women are watching a movie or show or whatever it may be, it's because they have a connection. They liked Matthew McConaughey in this, so they're going to watch this. They like, I don't know, they like Emma Stone in this, so they're gonna watch this because she's in it. It's actually like incredibly straightforward with women, and it's so like you should be able to hold just a basic conversation and be able to build a really simple connection with somebody very quickly. I've literally never encountered it. Like I went on a date once with a woman where we just had nothing in common, but within 5 minutes, I found it. I found something that we could talk about. You know, like it was painful. It was genuinely painful for like 5 minutes, right? Because just a total opposite lifestyle for me. Like, total country girl, but not even into like the kind of country stuff that I'm into, right? Like, very bland, not that many hobbies or interests at all. And it was like, I'm throwing out stuff. She has no idea what I'm talking about, no interest in what I'm talking about. She throws out something, I have no idea. She throws out another thing, I have no idea. Like, it's really difficult. Like, hard mode to the extreme. A statistical anomaly of a date. Of a, like, mismatch of a date. But I found it. Eventually, she said something that I understood at least a tiny thing about, and could say one positive thing about. And boom, this led to several dates. I ended up not going on a fourth date with her, you know. It was, it was too much. Just way too much incompatibility. So yeah, we'll move right along to the next video. The last thing I wanted to say about this one, I'll just make this its own video, and then move along to the Jasper maxing. Now, the thing is, look at these guys on the left. These 1 through 4 guys. I guarantee you, some of those guys have had girlfriends, relationships, hookups, right? Friends with benefits or something. Like, look at the guys in the 4 category. And even some of the guys, like, even lower than that, the 1 through 3. Probably at least half of them have, like, hooked up with a woman. Right? So, explain to me how there's all kinds of guys, sub 5 guys, whatever you want to call it, who have hooked up with women, who women have showed attraction to. And not just like women who are also sub 5. I'm talking like 7 or higher women. Not like, I can't say like guaranteed half of them have had that, but probably some of them have had that. And explain to me why these guys are so unattractive. If so often these guys who don't have super attractive faces are getting women, and that woman, sorry to be crude, but they hook up with that woman, and that woman is squirting her juices all over his schlong. It's definitely happened to at least half of these guys, these sub 5 guys, if not more, probably more, realistically. Probably more, like 70%. How can that happen, right? Explain it to me. If it's just so doomed. Because I know a lot of men, right? Like, I work in a male-dominated field, and I went to school for a male-dominated field job. I just don't understand why it's so prevalent. It's so common. My ultimate point with this video is that these barriers, is that it almost entirely doesn't matter. Not only does 1 through 3 get lumped together, and 8 through 10, I think 1 through 10 get lumped together and are basically the same. And your Facebook profile zoomed in picture of your face is goddamn meaningless, because it is completely void of context, which somebody would have that if they were literally just your friend on Facebook, or met you in person, or like actually like read your dating profile. A lot of these guys complain, oh, I typed up a description on my dating profile and women must not be reading it because I'm not getting matches. No, you need to riz them. Your description needs to be just basic information about you, and it should put you in a positive light. But you need to be sending messages to these women that are specific to what they put, to their pictures, to their interests, to what they're into, talking about what they want to talk about. It's actually very simple. You just, like, it's almost more simple on a dating app because you have limited information about what the person's interests are. So like it's there in your face. It's like the profile. These female profiles are like loaded with context clues and prompts of exactly what you should be saying to them, which is just talk about what they're into. Literally ask them about their job. It's so not complicated. And this whole thing with these incels that are just so wildly absorbed with this 1 to 10 rating is just pure insanity. Because for men, it's completely meaningless, right? Like, think about this, man. Men are more physically attracted to women. And I'm going to be honest with you. I would date a 2 out of 10. I would date an uggo. Like, someone who ain't got it, right? Who ain't rocking it. I would. Right? If they're 1 out of 10 for a woman, they got like major health problems. Like, there's something majorly wrong if you're a 1 out of 10. But that, like, the 2s out of 10s, they're an insane minority, right? Like, there's so few of them, especially for like women. But yeah, because it doesn't matter, because it's context. Like, it's all about what type of person they are. It means freaking everything, right? Like, as shallow as people are, no, they actually care about the context. They care about what type of person they're going to date. And these guys who are 8, 9s, and 10s, like, yeah, they have it easier. Who cares? This idea that they just aren't even putting in effort is retarded. For lack of a better word, it's just so stupid. It's crazy, right? Like, yeah, sometimes maybe these guys can hop on Tinder and get a match and hook up with a girl. Well, guess what? I ain't no freaking 8, 9, 10 out of 10. I can hook up with a girl at any point. I can hop on any dating app and get a date and hook up with a girl. I can hit up a girl in real life. I can hit up a girl through social media. I can get it real easy. And I'm like a 5 out of 10 on a good day, right? Because it doesn't matter, right? Getting Tinder hookups is freaking meaningless. It's like the shittiest way to get a hookup because there's no context anyway. Like, literally, like, say a woman matches with this guy who he's pointing at here, the guy in the bottom right. A woman meets up with that guy and hooks up with him. It's going to be completely meaningless to her. Like, she's not even going to have that attraction built up. She's not even going to enjoy it very much because there was no riz. There was no real connection of any kind. It's just some, like, physical, like, it's like she's got an itch on her back and she just needs to scratch it with whatever, right? Like, some of these guys being able to get that a couple times a year ain't shit. It doesn't affect the overall, like, dating market, or however you want to call it. Modern dating, it's so meaningless. It's crazy, right? And I'll get into that more when I make a video, which I want to do soon, about beta orbiters. So that will be an upcoming video because that's very important, and we'll dive deeper into exactly what modern dating is. Because so many guys out there are so clueless to what is even going on in modern dating, how to navigate it. They're just lost in outer space, and they're getting scooped up by these black pillars, these red pillars, who are just feeding them nonsense. They're feeding into these guys' insecurities, telling them, well, you're not tall enough, you're not rich enough, you're doomed. You need to become tall and rich or you're screwed. You need to get a facelift or you're doomed. Just dumb nonsense that's designed for them to keep you down and keep extracting money from you. So yeah, Check out more. I got a lot to say.